Hi everyone, I'm Tanaz from foreverconscious.com and this is your weekly energy forecast for the week of October 23rd. So we are in eclipse week. We have a solar new moon eclipse. It's a partial eclipse on October 25th, and this new moon solar eclipse has some gentle energy. It's sort of a nice warm welcome, if you will, into what can usually be a very transformative time. Eclipse season is usually a very transformative time. I like to think of eclipses as fast tracking portals that help us reach a new chapter of our soul contract, our soul journey. They tend to bring transformative events, life changing events, some kind of upheaval that gets us moving towards our highest path, those soul karmic lessons that we came here to learn. They can definitely be challenging, but the energy around this Scorpio solar new moon eclipse feels quite light, feels quite gentle. Venus, the planet of love and relationships and money, is very, very active under this eclipse. So those three areas may be highlighted for you. You may experience heart openings, heart healings, a greater awareness on what your heart is trying to communicate. If you are having relationship issues, you may find your heart opening to move in deeper to resolve those issues. Or you may find your heart opening towards yourself and being able to return more self-love towards yourself, which then allows you to make choices and decisions about that relationship for your highest good. So if you are going through any struggles under this eclipse, I highly suggest listening and tuning in to your heart. Your heart will be your guide under this eclipse. What does that mean, to tune in and listen to the heart? Well, simply setting an intention and becoming aware of your heart energy can help. And a little exercise you can try is simply place your hand over your heart, maybe take a nice couple of breaths just to still your mind. And then imagine, you can even imagine those breaths going into the heart to activate its energy. And then just very quietly in your mind, ask your heart, what are three things I can do for you right now? And then, or even one thing, what's one thing I can do for you right now? And then listen to the first answer that comes up into your awareness and trust that answer, trust that intuition that arises from the heart. And then the more you do that, the more practice you'll get, and the more easier it will be for you to listen and connect with your heart. So lots of ways you can do it, but just a quick little exercise that you might like to try to help activate your heart energy. I also, as always, have a ritual for you which you can try. Go to foreverconscious.com. I can drop a link in the description box too. That ritual is just guided to be soothing and relaxing. So this is a new moon solar eclipse. So solar eclipses always happen on a new moon. So on a new moon, we generally are planting seeds, setting intentions, right? But under an eclipse, we don't really have to do that. Like I mentioned before, eclipses put us where we need to be. So we don't need to waste time setting intentions. But the ritual that I devised is a little bit more geared to feeling soothed, feeling connected with yourself, feeling nourished. And if you're going to do any of your own practices this week, that is what I would focus on. Don't focus so much on the wishes and trying to draw things into you. Just focus on getting yourself into a state of alignment and balance and feeling calm and relaxed. That's a better focus. That's a better way, in my opinion, to use this energy. And then as we get to the end of the week on October 30th, which is technically into the next week of these forecasts, but Mars will station retrograde. This is a big energy. So Mars retrogrades the least out of all the planets. So it's a rare retrograde, and it's one that we tend to feel more strongly because we don't experience it that often. Mars is the planet that rules over our action, our ability to take action, our energy levels, our motivation, our fears, our ability to conquer those fears. That's all Mars. So when Mars stations retrograde, all of this energy that we tend to put out into the world now starts to come back to us. It shifts into an internal level. What does this mean? This means we may have to reflect and revisit the way we're using our energy. Our energy levels might shift and change. We may have to look at our motivations. What is driving our motivations, and are those things still what we want to be driving our motivations? Are our motivations led by our heart or our ego? The other thing that we can feel under a Mars retrograde is that we're taking one step forward and two steps back. It can sometimes have a little bit of that feeling. Typically, on a Mars retrograde, the typical manifestation is that we can feel a little sluggish and slow. And this is because we need to be patient. We need to take that time to reflect. We need to take that time to recharge our batteries and conserve our energy levels. However, some people can also feel incredibly energized under a Mars retrograde. So, Mars retrograde, just depending on where you are in your life, your own energy, it can actually be an energy boost. You can also get a little bit of both. You might feel boosted in one area and a little lethargic in another. So just pay attention to that. And if you are feeling tired and sluggish, give yourself permission to rest. So, a couple of things to focus on in a Mars retrograde. One is being patient. Be really patient with yourself and others. Don't be in a rush. Mars retrograde does not favor rushing. You know that old saying, haste makes waste? That is 100 times more true under a Mars retrograde. So be patient, give yourself time to rest, and just try not to be in a rush, because Mars retrograde is sometimes connected to careless accidents, making mistakes or saying something that we might regret later. So just something to be aware of there under that Mars retrograde energy. Mars retrograde is also a power time for addressing and conquering our fears and looking at where fear might be driving us and how we can stop, put an end to that and replace our fear or acknowledge our fear so we can move forward and push past some blocks and boundaries. So, it is a really beautiful opportunity for growth and for healing, especially when it comes to all those areas I mentioned. And also, of course, Mars represents the masculine, that masculine energy that lives within us, also represents our passions, desire, all of that ability to feel strong and healthy and confident in our body. All of that can be connected to Mars. So, a lot there, and we may be feeling that. A retrograde is usually strongest the day it happens. So, that's October 30th. Just paying attention around that date. Mars will be retrograde until the new year, till January. So, this is an energy we'll be working with for quite a while. So that kind of brings us to the end of October. It's been a really big month in terms of cosmic events. As we move into November, we have a blood moon eclipse on November 8th. That works in tandem with this eclipse that we have this week. But after that, things tend to settle down. We get a little bit of a breather. If you would like to know more about what's coming up in November, your November forecast is up at foreverconscious.com. And I'm doing a Mars retrograde workshop on Friday, the 28th. If you want to join me, I'll drop a link below. And don't forget, your moon calendars for 2023 are now available. They contain all the retrogrades, the full moons, new moons, eclipses, the zodiac seasons, equinox, solstices. Each month comes with some nice artwork, a cosmically inspired affirmation, and all the artwork there for the astrology of the month. So if you like that, that's on Etsy. I will also drop a link below, shipping from my apartment to you on Etsy. So check that out if you're interested. All right, guys, you have a wonderful week. Eclipse energies can be strong, so look after yourselves, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much.